Hello there YouTube, this is Austin Bach. We're back once again on Magic Online playing some Ixalan draft. So yeah, we're just looking at a first pack here. We've got a Repeating Barrage as our rare. It's a pretty solid card. I actually don't think it's that much better than Fire Cannon Blast, which is also in this pack. Sometimes it's actually going to be worse, because you're going to want to kill things with toughness greater than 3. But I think the upside of A, being able to go to the face, and B, being able to recur it, makes it better. Looking at the rest of the pack, I don't see a whole lot that I would want to take over it. There's some higher upside cards like River Herald's Boon, maybe Water Trap Weaver if you want to go aggro, but I like taking flexible, cheap removal early, especially one as powerful as this. So I think it's a pretty easy first pick. I like red as a color as well. I think it's one of the few colors in the set that pairs well with every other color. Like if you took a green card, you know, green-black isn't really an archetype, so you're kind of shoehorned into one of the other 3 color pairs, but red we can be pretty much any color combination and be totally fine. Now for our second pack, Odapec Huntmaster is pretty strong if we end up in dinosaurs. Matches our first pick pretty also because it's also red, but let's look at the rest of the pack. Pounce is fine, also good in the dinosaurs deck. Vanquish the Weak is a good, just generically good card. It's less high upside than the Huntmaster, but if we end up black, it's obviously going to be good in any deck. Whereas if we took the Huntmaster, we run the risk of being red and not even being dinosaurs, which is obviously a downside. It is very powerful in a dinosaur deck, though, so it's an option. I don't really like dinosaurs as an archetype, though. I think it's on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to color combinations. I do like red-black. I think I'm just going to take the Vanquish the Weak here. Well, I don't know. I think the Huntmaster's higher upside. Don't know if that's correct, but we'll see what happens. Okay, in this pack we've got a couple other dinosaur cards here. We've got a Commune with Dinosaurs and a Kinjali's Collar. I like the Kinjali's Collar a lot. This card has me quite a bit. So if we ended up like red-white dinosaurs, I guess. I like it better in white-green, because generally you're trying to cheat out the big expensive green dinosaurs. So that's one concern I might have. Commune with Dinosaurs, I mean, green is probably the best color for dinosaurs in general. Also a Thrash of Raptors, which is fine. A couple black cards, but I don't think I'm going to take a black card. I think there's also a Skullduggery, I guess, which I could consider. So I think it's between the Commune with Dinosaurs and the Kinjali's Collar. I think I like the Kinjali's Collar. Well, I think the Commune with Dinosaurs actually is better. The Huntmaster already kind of does something the Collar is doing, and I think the cost reduction works better in green than in white. Okay, got a couple cards here. Sailor of Means, pretty premium blue common. Grazing Whiptail has really impressed me, though. I think I'm going to take it here. Another Kinjali's Collar is noteworthy. But yeah, this is a good green dinosaur. We can ramp it out on turn 3 if we want to. We can hit it off the Commune. And it's just like a solid body in this format. 4 toughness is kind of the magic number. And reach is really important, because there's a lot of good cheap flyers that this brick walls pretty well. Also of note, Frenzied Raptor I wouldn't mind getting back if we ended up red-black, or rather red-green dinosaurs. And we could pivot into another color as well, but I think Grazing Whiptail fits what we're doing pretty perfectly so far. Another Commune with Dinosaurs. Probably just want to take Unfriendly Fire, though. Red-green removal's a little harder to come by. There's not as many common, playable removal spells. There's like just the Unfriendly Fire, Fire Cannon Blast, and Pounce are like your only options, essentially. So I'm happy to pick up a near premium removal spell at this juncture. It also can be a finisher. We also have the Repeating Barrage, so both of our burn spells can go to the face, which is nice. And I don't think we need to prioritize Commune with Dinosaurs that highly, because if it turns out that Dinosaurs is open, we're probably going to get them later. People aren't going to be interested in them if they're not also dinosaurs. That's the one good thing about this format, despite its several other problems, which I might get into later. What do we have here? Rigging Runner is not a dinosaur, but it is a good cheap play, so I could consider it. I could take a Crash the Ramparts or a Cobbled Wings. And both of those kind of fit what we're trying to do better. Because Red-Green Dinosaurs, I think, wants to be more of a mid-range deck than an aggro deck. Because of cards like Otepec Huntmaster, we want to kind of clog the board with cards like Grazing Whiptail. We're not as interested in like beating our opponent down and making 2/2s for 1 mana, which is what that card's doing. So I think it's actually between these two cards. And I actually like Cobbled Wings a lot. Paired with green, you can really finish games that way pretty quickly. Yeah, see, now we're getting late commune with dinosaurs, but I'm actually going to take this Fathom Fleet Firebrand, which I think is a premium 2-drop, and we do need some 2-drops even though it's not a dinosaur. And I'd be happy with just like 2 copies of commune. Like sometimes you can get some nutty decks with like 3 or 4 copies of commune, and then you can play like 15 land and a bunch of dinosaurs, but I don't think we need to go that deep necessarily, at least not this early. Here's a Colossal Dreadmaw. Pretty good target. It's one of the better mid-range dinosaurs in the format. At 5 mana, there's not a whole lot actually. In red-green, there's like the 5 mana 4/4 that can block an extra creature. But that card's just like kind of fine. 4/4 for 5 is not that exciting, but 6/6 for on turn 5 is pretty strong. Frenzied Raptor came back. I also like Crushing Canopy, but I'm going to take this Frenzied Raptor. Fill out our curve. I think we can get a similar effect to the Crushing Canopy later, even though I always do want at least 1 copy in my deck. Wow, Pounce Wield. That's got to be a signal. Definitely taking that here. We have a couple creatures that fight pretty well. I want to pick up a couple more high toughness bodies in order to make this a slightly better card, but we can work that out later. Late Daggertooth also, which is a pretty strong signal that green is open in this direction. Pretty happy about that. Slice and Twain for the board, I suppose. Maybe the Kinjali's Collar. If we need to, we can pivot into white. I have yet to see a scenario where Slice and Twain is really that powerful of a sideboard card, so yeah, double Kinjali's Collar. Now we have some options. If we pick up like a bomb white card or something, we can potentially pivot into either white-green or white-red. Brontodon is notable too, I guess, but a little too expensive. Geez. Well, if something weird happens and we need to pivot into white-green dinosaurs, we've got the foundation, that's for sure. So one interesting note about this format, which has kind of been the topic of the day with the format, is the state of league play. Because people have been complaining that, you know, when you draft in a league, you play against people that are not in your pod, so the power level disparity between your deck and your opponents is going to be a lot wider than if you play within your pod. Because usually the way it works when you're drafting is the power level of your deck is pretty similar to your opponent's because you all drafted with the same subset of cards, but you know, especially in a format as synergistic as this, it's a lot more noticeable when your opponent's deck came together and yours didn't. So I thought that was an interesting note. Anyway, let's look at this pack real quick. See, another Otepec Huntmaster, which is the highest upside card, which I could consider taking. Lightning Rig Crew is a better card, but we're not going to have a ton of pirates in our deck. I mean, I'm never unhappy with it, even in a non-pirate deck. I guess we have 1 pirate already. We might pick up 1 or 2 more, just incidentally. There's a lot of pirates. But the upside on Huntmaster is so strong, and that kind of opens up the door for me taking more expensive cards like Dreadmaw later and not being as concerned about it. So I think I'm going to take the Huntmaster here and see where that takes us. Belligerent Brontodon, eh? Don't know if it's really worth splashing. It's a fine card, but it's not like busted. There's a Sure Strike, which is a card I like in this kind of deck, just because you're going to be more interested in forcing your big guys through their ground defense, and they're going to be trying to set up some double blocks. This is a good cheap way to blow that up. Crash the Ramparts is a similar card, but it's just basically the same effect, but 1 cheaper. And then other than that, it's just Brontodon or splash the Belligerent Brontodon, but I'm not really going to be that interested in splashing. So I think I'm just going to take the Sure Strike now. Okay. What do we have here? Shadowed Caravel, not that interested. Crushing Canopy, we can just take a sideboard card. This pack's not great for us. Or we can just take a Swashbuckling, which I think is like a fine card in this format. We're not necessarily the deck for it because we're not interested in like trying to force through a ton of damage early. We're trying to more set up for the mid game and overpower people that way. But I guess I'll take it here over just a sideboard card because we could play this main deck if we had to. Wow, a lot of good red cards in this pack. Fiery Cannonade, unfortunately our deck doesn't really work with it very well because it kills pretty much all of our early stuff. Another Repeating Barrage, that's very interesting. And I think I'm going to take it here. Having two of those now opens up some options for us. We can really grind some people down in the late game with this. Stormfleet Pyromancer is also pretty good. Not a dinosaur, but still a strong card. But yeah, got a lot of burn now. Now I just want to pick up some creatures, because we're actually a little light on the creature department right now. And there's no playable creatures for us in this pack. So I guess we're just going to take a Sorcerous Spyglass for the sideboard, in case our opponent has a Planeswalker randomly. Dinosaur Stampede. I'm actually just going to take this Ravenous Daggertooth here. Ensure that I have enough playable creatures, especially dinosaurs, which are at a premium. Alright, and we'll take a Thrash of Raptors here. Don't have a lot of 4s right now, and I would like to take more slightly expensive dinosaurs to make sure that we have full, we make full use of our Huntmaster's ability, ramping out our dinosaurs earlier. What's our dinosaur count right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is an okay number. I'd like to end up with several more, because we do actually have several synergies with it at the moment. Pyromancer's fine. Again, not a dinosaur, but we don't have a lot of expensive cards right now, so I'm fine having it in my deck. Alright, Dreadmaw came back. I was kind of hoping for that. So that is a dinosaur that we could play. Don't think I'm going to go all the way up to Ancient Brontodon, so I suppose I'll take this, and in case something weird happens and we end up with a bunch of free fixing, maybe we could put it in our deck. But I'm not going to be looking to go full 3-color. So, what am I looking for? I'm actually pretty happy with my removal suite right now. 2 Repeating Barrages, Unfriendly Fire, and Pounce. Plus we have a good combat trick and the Cobbled Wings. So yeah, I just want to make sure we get quality creatures in this pack. Preferably dinosaurs. Something like a premium uncommon would be nice, like the 3 red green 5/5, that would be nice. Crushing Canopy for the sideboard. Obviously like a Regisaur Alpha would be like the dream, right? Beggars can't be choosers. I guess if I open like a Hualti, maybe that would be enough reason to splash the Brontodon as well. Then prioritize some kind of fixing, like New Horizons or maybe a Sun Petal Grove if we're lucky. But that's not going to be my plan, because it looks like we're going to end up with a good straight 2-color deck here. Just totally fine with me. Don't know if I want double Pyromancer. The one interesting thing here is we have the double Repeating Barrage, and we have to keep in mind that we're going to want to be activating that post-combat a lot, so we have to kind of consider that a 5-drop. So I'm going to take this Cannonade for the sideboard, in case we play against a deck where it's really going to be useful. Problem is a lot of the aggro decks in this format are kind of pirate-centric, so this is pretty much just an anti-vampire card when it comes down to it. But, it's nice to have it if we do come up against vampires. Huh. So we have some good options in this pack. Tilonali's Knight stands out to me. It's one of the best 2-drops for a dinosaur deck. However, it's not necessarily what we're trying to do, because we're kind of trying to go mid-range, like I said. We're not trying to beat down. Obviously I would play it if we took it, but I'm looking also at this Grazing Whiptail, which is kind of more what we're looking to do. It's kind of the perfect size body to use our Pounce on. It fits perfectly with the Otepec Huntmasters, and it just does exactly what we're trying to do, which is come down in the mid game and keep us alive so we can take over with our big stuff, like our Dread Maws and our repeating barrages. So I think I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm going to take the Whiptail here. Synergizes a little better. We also have the Commune, and like I said, the double Odapec Huntmaster. So I think it's a Whiptail over Tillinolly's Knight, which is not a pick I would foresee making very often, but I think it is warranted here. Take a Ravenous Daggertooth, which again is kind of what we're looking to do. Gum up the board, buy us time, and it's a dinosaur. What else? Headstrong Brute. Obviously it's a better card than Daggertooth, but less synergistic for our deck. Dinosaur is obviously going to be higher premium. And, I mean, Unfriendly Fire I think is also a slightly better card, but the Daggertooth is more what we need. We're at 11 creatures right now, which is a little bit short of where I want to be. I want to be at like 15 creatures by the time we're done. And we never know what's going to happen in this pack, so I'll prioritize them as much as I can. See, like, this pack doesn't really have anything for us, other than the Stormfleet Pyromancer, which I guess I'm going to take. Reverend Fane's pretty strong. Don't think I'm going to play this Pyromancer, but I could if I had to. So I'll just put that in the sideboard for now. Still pretty sure I'm not playing Brontodon. I could play Rummaging Goblin. It's not the worst thing in the world. It is pretty decent in a game that we're trying to go long in. I can probably get a Brontodon on the wheel if I really wanted it. No one else is going to take it, so I might as well take a Rummaging Goblin. It's a consideration at least. I was pretty sure that our colors were open in this direction, if pack 1 was any indication, so I'm still holding out that we can get something nice here. Like a Drover of the Mighty, perfect. That is exactly the kind of card we're looking for. Another Pounce also, that would have been nice. But Drover of the Mighty is one of the premium 2-drops in these colors. It's even better than Tillinolly's Knight. It's not a dinosaur itself, but everything else just works so well with, so I'm happy to take it here. This looks like a 16-land deck to me, because we have essentially 3 mana dorks and a Commune, which can find lands if we have to, even though most of the time we're going to be taking dinosaurs with it. The one thing that would lead me to maybe playing 17 land is that we do have this Rummaging Goblin, which can pitch extra lands later if we need it. Ooh, Fire Cannon Blast this late is pretty nice, so our removal is great. And our creatures are pretty good. My creatures are at like a B right now. Again, we were just missing that one, like, uncommon big dinosaur to really pull this whole deck together. We don't have a whole lot in the 5-mana department. We have the double Dreadmaw, which is good, but I would have liked to see, like, the Ravenous Daggertooth. Here, don't think I'm playing any of these cards. Guess I'll take Makeshift Munitions. I haven't seen this card in play yet. It seems like in some matchups it can be good, probably not in our deck. Alright, here's a Spiketail Ceratops, which I think I'm taking. See, our colors are definitely open here, like every card in this pack is of our colors, which is kind of funny. I guess this pack just kind of broke in a weird way. But yeah, Spiketail Ceratops is kind of exactly what I'm looking for, fills a hole in our curve. Geez, another one and a Tillinolly's Knight. Huh. Did not think I'd be passing Tillinolly's Knight twice. No, I think I'm just going to take it here. I do also have to remember, like I said, I've got the double repeating barrage at the 5, so I'm not as worried about picking up 5 drops, so I'll just take Tillinolly's Knight. And now my deck, I think, is like very, very good. Jeez, look at all these packs. The colors are just so open. I don't even know if I'm going to play this Unfriendly Fire. I mean, should I play the Dinosaur Stampede? It's not really what I'm looking to do. I'm just going to take the Unfriendly Fire. This is not the kind of card I usually like. I know some people like it in a dinosaur deck, but I think our deck is so strong I'm not going to take a high variance card like that. I don't know if there's some matchups where I desperately need a 1/1 for 1. Alright, Brontodon came back. Could play it, probably won't. Huh, Pillar of Origins, also an option, but worse than all my other 2-drop mana producers. Yeah, this deck really came together. And I'm probably going to play 17 land now, just because my deck came together so well. I feel like the only way I can really lose is if I get a little unlucky with my mana. So I just need to cut 1 card. Looking at the Rummaging Goblin as an option, the Stormfleet Pyromancer. Probably the Pyromancer is just the one card that doesn't necessarily fit our deck, because, I mean, I guess we can ramp it out with the Drover, but we can't ramp it out with the Huntmasters, and we can't find it with Commune with Dinosaurs. And because, as I mentioned, we've got the repeating barrages, which is what we're likely going to be doing with our turn 5 most of the time. 15 creatures is good, although technically the double Huntmaster and the Rummaging Goblin aren't really going to be creatures in the sense of being able to finish games, so we basically have 12 creatures that can actually attack and block well. But I think that's fine. We have fantastic removal and like a couple flex slots that can close games. So I'm very happy with how this deck turned out. Just want to make sure, let's pull out all the options we could play. All of these, Brontodon I guess I'll pull over. Yeah, it's basically just these as my options. And then the Rummaging Goblin I think I'll play, mostly because of the fact that I'm going to be playing 17 land, so I can pitch them later if I have to. And we have so much, we have access to so much mana with the 3 mana producers and the Commune. It's essentially 21 mana sources, if you want to think about it that way. So there will be some games where we get a little flooded, but I think that's worth it, just because we actually have good mana sinks, we have a great curve, great synergy. I'm happy. So let's go ahead and add 9/8, that's what I was going to suggest. I might consider going 10/7 in favor of red, because we are going to want double red a lot with the double repeating barrage and the fire cannon blast. But we do have a few double green spells that we want to cast also, and we have the Drover that can fix for red later. So I think 9/8 sounds fine to me, and the Commune can also find red if we need to. So yep, gonna save this deck. I'm very optimistic. Let's take it into round 1.